Here's your chance to get a full year of ESPN Plus subscription for just $20. That's less than $2 per month. Here's what you need to do. Click the link in the description and order UFC 245 pay-per-view. Pay an additional $20 for 1 year ESPN Plus subscription, and that's it. For the next full year, you can enjoy 300 plus live UFC fights and tons of original MMA shows, which will be exclusively available on ESPN Plus. Don't wait. Click the link in the description and order UFC 245 pay-per-view today.
And you had a day job up until recently, is that true?
Yes, sir.
And when did you finally...
When did I finally quit?
Yeah.
Like a week after I found out about the Mike Perry fight.
And what were you doing, if you don't mind me asking?
Serving and bartending.
I vaguely remember discussing that. You were doing that, I guess, full-time and part-time and in between fights and just to make ends meet.
Yeah, pretty much. I pretty much been doing the serving bartending thing like my whole fighting career. So for about 10 years, I've been doing that and fighting. And I'm so glad to be done with that shit.
How did it feel when you knew? Was it the fact that now you're making better money, or you're more secure in your place in UFC? What finally made the decision where like this? I'm not doing this anymore.
I still don't feel like I'm secure in my place in UFC. I still got to win some more fights, but it just got to the point where I was just getting annoyed with like the management and like the customers. I'm not an angry or mean person, but I started being mean and angry at work, and I was like, you know what, it's time for me to separate myself from this because it's really messing with my mood.
The best man is gonna win Saturday night. It is what it is. I'm gonna fight my ass off. I know this time I'm not gonna stick and move as much. I'm just gonna tuck my chin and I'm gonna put my foot down and put a stamp on it, and I'm gonna move forward. And it's gonna bleed. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna bleed. The after party might be in the hospital, but it could be in the hospital as a winner or as a loser. So I need to make sure that if I'm gonna be in the hospital, I might as well be there as a winner. I sacrifice whatever I gotta do. If I gotta get hit to hit you, as I just said this, it's not who hits first, it's who hits last.
Good morning, everybody. Make sure y'all tune in to ESPN tonight, boy. Some fireworks.
When I saw him in New York for the press conference, I looked deep in his eyes and I could see a lot of fear. You know, he feels all the pressure of the world, the weight of the world's on him. He feels like he's the good guy and he has to please all the fans. You know, so not only does he have to deal with the pressure of the world, he has to deal with the Colby Chaos Covington train pressure, and that's a pressure you don't want to be on the track.
Usman versus Tyron Woodley. You know, I mean, we've never seen Tyron Woodley dominated like that. He just looked so strong. Every time they would clinch, sometimes he picked Woodley up and slammed him on the floor straight into side control. He just looked so phenomenally strong. I think he's stronger than Covington. I think he's probably a better wrestler, and I think he hits harder. Covington, on the flip side, he does not get tired. It's crazy. He does not get tired. He fights at this relentless pace. He stops coming forward. He's got great wrestling. He doesn't hit as hard, but he's willing to just walk forward and throw long combinations. He hasn't got the power that Usman has, but he has better cardio and a higher output. So what you've got on one side, you've got Usman, the powerhouse, that has the cardio to go 5 rounds, of course, but more, stronger wrestling, and probably harder hitting power. On the flip side, you got Covington, whose wrestling probably isn't far behind Usman's. It's probably very, very close, but probably not quite as physically strong. And in wrestling, strength does matter. And on the feet, he has a way higher output than Kamaru Usman. And that makes this a really tough fight to pick as well. I mean, because both guys' styles are kind of similar, but Covington has a higher output. Kamaru is stronger. So again, it's a really, really difficult fight to pick. He set a record for the most strikes landed in a fight. I mean, it was very impressive. And he claimed not to have even trained properly for that fight, which I don't necessarily believe that. But we've got to make a pick. I think Usman will get him down on occasion. I think he's just stronger. But I think Covington will get back to his feet. And he may even get Kamaru down on occasion. I think Tyron Woodley is going to be watching this fight so closely. And Tyron Woodley is just begging for Colby Covington to win, because if Kamaru wins, he's probably not going to get that rematch anytime. But if Covington wins, there's that whole backstory with Woodley and Covington. So Woodley probably really wants Covington to win. I think Kamaru will get Covington down. As I said, Covington will get back to his feet. I think Covington will be busier on the feet. It is going to be a close fight, but I think it's just going to be busier, and it's going to be a close fight. And the fact that Covington's output is so high, and Usman isn't the busier fighter. He's not the busiest fighter in general. He doesn't have a massively high output. Yeah, so I've got Covington by decision.
The fact that you're going for Jose Aldo says a lot about you, buddy. I respect that.
Yeah, man. We like I said before, man. We pick up a career that's a professional fighter, and in the UFC, if you fight the A guy, it's gonna be pressure. If you fight the B guy, it's gonna be pressure. If you lose, you're under pressure. If you win, you're under pressure. So if you don't wanna deal with that, don't fight.
That's the attitude to have, Jimmy.
And you're fighting a guy coming down in weight, so who knows how he adjusts to that weight cut. I mean, that's an extra 10 pounds. He may really have a hard time with that. I know he's been trying to stay lighter, so it probably has less of a cut. But I don't think Jose Aldo, just because he's coming down a different weight, has an easier fight. I think you're going to be more comfortable in there because that's where you're used to being.
Yeah, man, I'm prepared. I train very hard, and I'm not going to say I'm going to go in there and I'm going to destroy him. But you guys know I'm going to get in there and I'm going to put on a fight, and I'm going to be the best I ever been, and I feel great. I can't wait to fight.
Yeah, maybe the Darren Elkins fight. Obviously I fought the guys like Chad Mendes and Aldo, but at the same time, I knew I was one of the top guys when I went out there and fought Darren Elkins, especially when I had the busted rib 2 days before. I was hurting a lot, so I was obviously thinking to myself, can I get the job done like this? I could barely move, and I still got the job done, and it just showed me that you're a bit of a freak. You know what I mean? Like, you can do this. If you can go out there and have that on your mind the whole fight pretty much, and still go out there and take out a ranked opponent, that's saying something. Then obviously every fight after that just gave me more and more confidence. And after the Aldo fight, especially knowing that I had to fight a completely different fight that I'm used to, just to get the job done, it just really shows you how versatile I am and how wide my sort of abilities go. And I'm honestly the most confident I've ever been, and I think the Aldo fight's got me there, but I knew I was something special probably after maybe the Darren Elkins fight.
Some unfortunate events happened for both Frankie and Ortega the first time around, but we got it done, but that's like doing double camps for one guy, and then you got Volk, he just one fight one time, and we here a couple of days away. I'm just excited, This is a new face, actually. He's a new face in top 10. It's actually, only the second guy that I get to actually fight that I really didn't watch growing up. So that feeling is amazing too. At the end of the day, I really don't watch fights. I really don't. My friends show me, people tell me, in UFC there's a new fighter coming up every 2 weeks, you know what I mean? So the new hot flavor, the new mysterious flavor. And, I might see something on social media Instagram, Twitter. But I never really got to watch the fight, there's that one famous meme that of Michael Phelps, and he was swimming with someone, and the guy was looking at Phelps while Phelps was winning, We're just focused on winning, and that's what I do.
You've been here for a couple days now in Vegas. Have you seen Dana White? Have you talked to him at all? I know that you guys are kind of on the outs. Any reconciliation there?
Everybody knows I ain't got nothing to say to Uncle Fester. And he's not going to wrap that belt around my waist on Saturday night, I can promise you that.
So what's the plan? I mean, that's tradition, right? Dana White wraps the belt around the winner. I know you believe that you're going to win on Saturday, so what happens? What happens?
It was tradition until they did the Broken Mediocre Fighter Championship last weekend in New York, and they gave away that Bernie Sanders participation trophy, and they let The Rock put it on Journeyman George. So I want Candace Owens to put it around my waist on Saturday night.
Thanks, Colby.
I'm going to make it as nasty as I can so that other guys ain't going to want to fight me. They ain't going to want me to bleed all over them. And, you know, what if I'm bleeding all over you and I'm like saying names of STDs while I'm like bleeding all over you? Just blood. Oh, motherfucker's going to bleed. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to bleed. The after party might be in the hospital. I'm expecting the hospital. I'm predicting the hospital.
What's your prediction for the fight then?
Prediction?
Yes, prediction.
Pain.
People gonna bleed, it's gonna get cut open, and somebody might die.